How's it going, VC? Back again for my finds of the year. I have about like 20 records here that I wanted to go through. I know a lot of people usually do a top 10, but I just had a very hard time deciding which records to put in a top 10, so I figured I'd just show off 20. Starting off, we have this playing in the background, which I would definitely put this up there as one of my top finds. This is Zalam, Aid, Festival Horizonte, Berlin, 1979. It was just like a festival that they played out in Berlin. It's very, very, very good jazz funk. I think they're from Senegal, I think is where they're from. And yeah, it's insanely good. And this was from the 20 or so records that I bought at an antique store. And it was just a ton of really cool African records. I was thinking about making a video for it, but I don't know. I decided not to because a lot of it I didn't have really much to say. Because it's a lot of it is this genre called soukous, and the best way I could describe it would be like just like dance music. And to be honest with you, a lot of it blended together for me, and it just really didn't blow me away. But this one really stood out because it's not even in the same genre per se. And this band has a lot of other records that I will certainly be looking out for if I ever do come across them, because like I said, I don't think they ever released in the United States. But very, very good. Happy to have that. Actually have a couple more from that stack of 20 that I managed to purchase. Also this one, Choom, African Woman Cry. This is a 12-inch single. And yes, in the shrink wrap. This is a very hard to find 12-inch single, and also insanely good. I wouldn't call this soukous per se. I mean, I guess it has some vibes like that, but it's really just funky, maybe disco-y stuff, you know, like it's very, very good. Both these records you can stream on YouTube, and I highly recommend checking them out if you aren't aware of them. But yeah, this is definitely one to check out because it's good stuff for sure. And this is the only thing that this artist released. Side one is Adjoa Matin. I'm probably butchering that, I apologize. And then yeah, side two, African Woman Cry. Very, very good. There's a misprint on the label actually. It says 33 RPM. It does play at 45 though, so. But honestly, I accidentally played it at 33 thinking that was what it played at. It sounded pretty cool either way, so definitely one to check out for sure. And finally, I know my buddy Soren Vinyl showed off his copy that I gave to him of this, but I might as well figured I would show it off. Vuela Somo. I enjoy it for what it is. It's definitely an acquired taste for sure, and you have to be in the right mood for it. But if you're in like a dancey sort of like positive kind of mood, it definitely fits that vibe. I can see why people enjoy this, especially for like the novelty aspect of it. So, but yeah, I got this for $5 and those other two for $5, and it was just, I don't know what was happening, and it was just in such a bizarre fashion as well, because it was just in an antique store in like a pretty suburban area in Maryland, like for $5 each, and it was just so strange. The lady said that she got them at a auction, and they're all from this I guess it's like a museum, gallery, African music gallery. A lot of them have these stickers on it in Washington, D.C. So yeah, it's very interesting. Next up, let's just hop into the main course, I suppose. This will be a lot of the other main stuff that was top on my finds this year. I had a lot of insane finds, and unfortunately I haven't had a lot of time to show them off in just like regular haul videos, so a lot of these are just brand new finds that I haven't shown off to y'all. So very excited to do so. But first, let's start off with when I did. This is a Metallica's Black Album. This is an original 1991 UK pressing of it. Yeah, if it was a US, that'd be ridiculous. But I got this for an insanely good deal off eBay. Has the inserts. I'm not gonna bother taking it out. But yeah, it's on that Vertigo label, which is really cool. Did not come out. Came out on Elektra, I believe, in the US, but Vertigo in Europe and UK and stuff, which is really cool. It's a pretty sentimental record for me, I suppose. I remember my dad playing this a lot growing up. Like Nothing Else Matters and The Unforgiven. Just two tracks I remember hearing a great deal. Not everyone's cup of tea. I know people. This got overplayed for sure in the 90s and early 2000s, and still now it really does. But I don't know, I still enjoy it a lot, so very happy to have an original copy of any magnitude for sure. Okay, next up we have Led Zeppelin's Mudslide. This was recorded live at Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, Canada on March 21st, 1970. And this is a bootleg, trademark of quality bootleg to be specific, so it's pretty desirable. I know people really like trademark of quality bootlegs. Insanely cool, I do have to say. See, it has some form of insert. Oh yeah, someone like, I think they wrote like the lyrics or whatever on a piece of paper. I always love finding stuff like that in records. And the trademark of quality inner sleeve, really cool looking. But yeah, this is the blue vinyl release on it. It's pretty beat up. It's probably a G plus, VG minus at best. It does still play very well, and it's not like, I mean, it's a bootleg of a live recording, so I mean, it sounds good for a bootleg, but it's also not the best recording, obviously. But some really killer live tracks that they did on here. It was early Zeppelin for sure. And early Zeppelin is definitely my favorite Zeppelin, so very happy to have this. And when it came up on eBay, I just kind of had to pull the trigger on it, because, like, you know, when do you ever get the opportunity to buy Led Zeppelin bootleg, especially on the trademark of quality label? So very, very, very happy to add this to the collection, and definitely up there for one of my best finds of the year. Next up, this is from my flea market lot from a little bit ago. I have to show it off. This is A Night in Tunisia by Art Blakey. This is an original 1961 Deep Groove mono press. And yeah, $3 for this. Not the best copy. It probably plays G+. Probably looks worse than that, to be honest. But it does still play quite well. But for $3, I didn't even bother looking at the disc when I was pulling these out. Just had to get it. You know, fantastic all the way through. Fantastic record. Glad to own it. Next up, we have Tangerine Zoo. This is their first record, released on Mainstream Records in 1968. And just really good garage psych. There's only a couple duds on this record, honestly. The rest of it's really, really good. I'll say, yeah, The Flight is probably my favorite track off of it. Mommy and Daddy's the dud. It's so weird. And Symphonic Psych's good. Crystallescent Heaven, One More Heartache. Yeah, the whole album. Side 2 is definitely where it's at, aside from Mommy and Daddy. But the whole thing, for the most part, aside from a couple duds, very, very good. And for the price that I got this at, like I said, it's kind of had to. And it's like a VG minus copy, but still, again, I just got it for too good of a deal to pass up either way, so it plays decently. So I'll definitely be holding on to this copy for a little bit. All right, next up we have The Third Power, I believe, 1970. And this has been on the top of my want list for an extremely long time. It was up there for the price that I wanted to, the max price that I wanted to pay for it on eBay, which was 60 bucks. And I just had to, pull the trigger on it. So I have a CD copy of it, and I play that a decent amount, so I know a vinyl release of it was definitely in my future for sure. But it just starts off with a just blistering hard rock track with Getting Together. His vocals on that are insane. I absolutely love it. But from there, Coming Home is really good. Lost in a Daydream, Feel So Lonely. Yeah, it definitely takes a different turn, I'd say, after the first track. It's more of like a garage psych top type vibe after that first track, but definitely good either way. Can highly recommend it. It's on Vanguard Records. The disc is like VG plus. The sleeve is like, it's probably G plus. It's kind of split and got a lot of wear to the corners and some ring wear. But I did not care. I put my offer out there. He accepted, and now I own it. So very happy to, and definitely check it out. Next up we have Van de Graaff Generators. Least We Can Do Is Wave to Each Other. Their 1970 UK release. This is on the Pink Scroll Charisma label, and this is actually the second mix. Apparently the first mix was extremely bass heavy, and they recalled it pretty early on, and apparently it made it hard to hear some of the whispering, talking, quiet parts, which I did not know, because this is probably as close as I'll ever get to a first press of it. But I'm extremely happy with this one. This one sounds really, really good. I bought it on Discogs on a whim because it was 12 bucks. He said that it was G plus all around. I mean, I guess the sleeve I can see, I'd say this is more VG, if anything. But the disc is not G plus at all. Again, it's probably a VG plus. If you want to be very harsh on it, VG plus minus. It is a very nice copy, so I kind of just got really lucky because he was extremely conservative with his grading. Yeah, I don't know. I had a 80s reissue for the longest time, but this is certainly an upgrade. And yeah, that one of my favorite progressive rock records of all time. You have a lot of great tracks on this album. I'll start with the first one, Darkness 1111, Refugees, White Hammer. Yeah, that first side is just out of this world. After the Flood is what the album ends with. Also insanely good. Very good one to start with if you're trying to get into progressive rock. Van de Graaff Generator is just one of those bands up there with Pink Floyd, King Crimson, Gentle Giant, in my mind. Just one of the titans of progressive rock of the 70s. And yeah, just definitely a very good one to check out, and a very good band to just dive into their discography. So happy to own that. All right, next up we have Floating Bridge. This released in 1969, and it is on Volt Records. Pretty collectible label. And yeah, this is I guess the sleeve is probably VG plus. If it was in the shrink wrap, I'd say it's near mint. But disc looks unplayed. I pulled it out, just amazed. Unplayed copy. Some ghost marks don't affect play. It's insanely clean copy of this, and I got such a good deal on it considering the condition. Yeah, this is a very Hendrixy vibe type album, I'd say. Crack Shot. Just got that Hendrix vibe. There's nothing wrong with that, though. I love that sound for sure. I mean, it's very good. Watch Your Step. And they do a medley that has 8 Miles High and Painted Black on it. And it's really, I really enjoyed that a lot. I found myself streaming that medley a very good bit before I got a copy of this. But now I just appreciate the entire record. And yeah, definitely one that I've been looking out for a very long time. And if you're into that late 60s, early 70s psych sound, definitely one to look out for. Here we have Coltrane live at Birdland. This is from that jazz lot I got at the flea market. $3. It's an original stereo copy. I always find Coltrane stuff in stereo. I really wish I could find it in mono, because it's definitely the preferred way to hear Coltrane, if I'm being honest. But, I mean, owning this no matter what is still a blessing in my eyes. Very, very good all the way through. Your Lady's probably my favorite track on it. Afro Blues really good as well. Those are probably the two standouts that I'd recommend listening to. Yes, I already showed this off in my flea market video, but there's the inside right there. Insane haul that I got from that. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out if you're into the jazz and funk and soul and stuff, because it's got a ton of that there. Definitely worth checking out for sure. Next up, we got a smoker of a record, Banshee Thinkin'. This came out in 1971, and it's a white label promo on Polydor. This is a VG Plus copy, disc wise. Sleeve wise, probably VG. Got some wear to it, but yeah, I bought it at a record store, and I got a really good deal on it for $20. It does unfortunately have a little bit of heat damage to it, but it still plays like perfectly, so it's not really a bother to me, because I got this for an insanely good deal, and it had been sitting there for a long time. I remember seeing it on Instagram a while back that they got it in, and I was like, oh, that's a shame it has heat damage. And then like months later when I went in, it's like it was still there, and I was like, okay, screw it. I'm just gonna take a shot on it, see how it plays. And I was satisfied with how it played, so I'll probably be holding on for this copy for a long time. Definitely a major grail in my books. I also have their first one, their Banshee self-titled. Got that one for $20 as well, so that's pretty wild. I do like this one more though, however. 3/4 song, Thinkin', John Doe. 38, Iceberg. Really good, heavy, progressive, psych record all around. So definitely check it out for sure. Okay, next up, we have just kind of a weird, I don't really know how I found this where I found it, but it was in the middle of nowhere in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. I don't know why this was in this stack of records, because I've looked at this guy's records before. He always has like a 50 count stack of records. I don't know why he just had this, but yeah, it's a Funkadelic, Free Your Mind and Your Ass Will Follow. This is a 1970 uncensored copy, and I got this for $15. But what's most mind-blowing about it is that this is probably as clean as this record gets, because this record's usually trash, and I've been through 2 other copies before this that were just trashed. This is like a VG, very strong VG plus minus copy, and it plays amazingly. Probably plays VG plus. I don't know why he only had this for $15, because it is an insanely good condition, and it's an original uncensored. So mind blown. I don't know why he was selling it for so little, because usually he kind of upcharges on literally everything. He's one of those, but I guess he just doesn't know about the Funkadelic. So this is their second record, and as far as I'm concerned, their weirdest record. I mean, literally just listen to like how it ends, Eulogy in Light. It's so weird, but I love it. It's like just so good at the same time. Like, man, but I want to know if it's good to use probably the standout track. But it's good. It's all real good. So definitely check it out if you haven't heard of it. But yeah, insane find. All right, next up, we have one that I have been dying to get for probably as long as I've been collecting jazz. So it's been a couple years. This is my favorite jazz artist. Might be a popular opinion, but I don't care. I absolutely love literally everything that he was on or did. So yeah, this is The Clown by Charles Mingus. This is an original 1957 US mono copy on that Black Atlantic label. I can't speak, but this is a VG Plus copy. Considering the age, I mean, it has a couple marks on it, but it doesn't really get much cleaner than this for a record from the 50s. And it plays phenomenally. Like, it sounds so good. But this is a really important record for me jazz-wise, because Haitian Fight Song, that was kind of the first jazz track that ever had an impression on me, and it really opened me up to a amazing genre of music. I really enjoy this album all around. Blue Sea is the second track, and you flip it over to Reincarnation of a Lovebird, also insanely good. And then it ends with The Clown, which is improvised by Gene Shepard. The narration on it, it's like spoken word. I absolutely adore this record, and basically anything that Mingus put out, like I said. So very happy to get this, and yeah. Next up we have A Love Supreme by John Coltrane. This is an original 1965 release, and it is a Capitol Records club pressing, and it is in stereo, so don't get too excited. This is a VG Plus copy, VG Plus minus if you want to be a little harsh on it. It's got some white marks on it. Plays insanely well. But I do have to say, this is a record that you really want to get in mono, unfortunately. And it's why the monos go for like double what the stereos go for. But yeah, honestly, I've had a reissue of this record before and just couldn't get into it. But now with this original pressing, I find that I really enjoy it. I wasn't really crazy about the spiritual free jazz before I listened to Alice Coltrane. But then going back to this and understanding her background, and then reading the inner gatefold of this record here, it all kind of made sense in a way, and allowed me to appreciate it a lot more for what it was. And there's not really a single track that I can just pull out and be like, yeah, that one for sure. It's kind of like a listening experience that you have to experience it as a whole, and I can certainly recommend the entire album for sure. I mean, it's an essential classic jazz record, and obviously if you haven't heard it before, definitely check it out. May not be the best thing to start out with if you're just getting into jazz per se, but obviously if you're interested in diving into like spiritual free jazz, this is definitely probably the first one you should start with. It's definitely something that takes a while to get into, like it did for me, but once you do, like, it just makes sense and opens your mind up, I guess you could say. Very, very good, and for the price I got it at, I am very happy to own a stereo copy, so yeah. Alright, next up we have Miles Davis Kinda Blue. This is an original 1959 stereo pressing, and this is an extremely clean, definitely VG Plus copy of this. It doesn't get much cleaner, like I said, for VG for 50s releases. Sleeves obviously like worse for the wear. It's got some ring wear and stuff, But the disc, man, is just so clean. This is definitely one of those records that, like, if you're trying to get into jazz, you gotta start with this one. Or I'm not gonna tell you where to start, but it's definitely a good one to start out with for sure. Just it's all about the lineups, you know, like with jazz. I mean, it could be like a $10 record or whatever, but if it's got like some cool names on it, like it's probably gonna be really good. This one, for instance, like it follows that pattern for sure, and because of that, has grown in popularity and made people want to buy it, which is therefore increased the price of it because you know, it's got Miles Davis, Cannonball Adderley, Paul Chambers, James Cobb, John Coltrane, Bill Evans, Wynton Kelly. There's literally not a single person in this lineup that hasn't gone, like, that didn't have an amazing solo career as well. So it's insane that a record exists that has literally every single one of these people on it. And therefore, the entire album's good as well. So it's just, I don't know. In the rock world, supergroups, I don't know. Sometimes supergroups can be very disappointing. But I don't know. I find in the jazz world, supergroups are insanely good. You can't go wrong with them. So, yeah, it's very good. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. Next up, we got T2. It'll All Work Out in Boomland. It's 1970 release on Roland Records US release. Not the cleanest copy per se. It's probably a VG plus minus copy. I would grade it. I know some people don't like using the plus minus, VG minus type of grading. I do. It makes sense to me, so that's what I do. Sleeves in decent shape as well. And this is definitely one that I've really wanted to get. It's a really good progressive heavy prog record. Second side is a 21-minute song called Morning, insanely good. In Circles, No More White Horses, all really good. Second side is where it's at. It is so good. Takes you on a journey. And the acoustics parts, like, that is just a beautiful, beautiful melody. And it's a fantastic album all around. But very difficult record to track down, I've found. I guess just because people want it so much. But, and it just looks cool. I mean, even if you don't know what it is, I feel like people are willing to just grab it and try it out if they see it. So, yeah, very, very good. Very happy to own it, and definitely up there for one of my best finds of the year. Okay, this one I got extremely recently, actually, and yeah, just no hesitation, just bought it on the spot when I saw it at the record show. I bought it with December's Children by the Rolling Stones, an original mono of that. So it was $25 in total, but he took $5 off, so I got the Stones for free, and I just paid $20 for this one. This is the West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band, Part 1. And this is an original mono white label promo. I got it for $20. And I really can't believe it. It's like a VG plus minus copy. It's got some scuffs and scratches, but still plays insanely well. I've been dying to get a copy of this for the longest time. I would have taken any original copy of this, a stereo copy. But no, the world decided you're getting original mono white label promo. So, okay, you know, it just fell into my lap. So I had to pick it up. I love this record so much. Shifting Sands, I Won't Hurt You, 1906, Help I'm a Rock, even though, yeah, like the weird shit. Like, I love that stuff too. Will You Walk With Me? It's like some beautiful tracks intertwined with just crazy freak out stuff. Transparent Day, Lila, Here's Where You Belong. Here's Where You Belong, that reminds me of like a Birds track. Like, it sounds like something like the Birds would do. If You Want This Love, Excuse Me Miss Rose, High Coin. So the whole album's really cool, and like as far as I'm concerned, the story behind this is, there was this band, you know, just take like the very melodic, really nice like pop psych tracks, and then take this other guy who was just basically a failed like musician who was like a trust fund kid for basically living in California, and he threw a party and he discovered these guys and he's like, hey, I'll pay for you to record an album, or I'll pay for everything if you let me be in the band. So essentially what he contributed was just really weird like voiceovers, like on Help I'm a Rock, like you can hear him and stuff like that. Like you can't, like, there's no real good picture of him like here, but on I think is it Volume 2, he's like the middle photo on their second record. That's him. I can't remember his name. Bob Markley is his name, and he was the producer, and also was just on a couple of the tracks doing some weird stuff. Very weird guy as far as I'm concerned, or have heard. There's a really good documentary on YouTube that you can watch. But yeah. Oh, and yeah, this is a fetus, by the way. I always think that's kind of weird, but yeah, interesting stuff. All right, we're getting down to it here. Next up, we have Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, The Freedom Rider. This is from that flea market lot, and this is an insanely crazy find. VG Plus copy of it, which finding Blue Notes in VG Plus condition, pretty unheard of. So yeah, you know, it is what it is. I'm still in awe on like that jazz hall. Like that was a find of a lifetime. And the guy was so confused when I gave him a stack of like 20 records to buy from him. he was just so confused. I honestly really should have asked him if he had any more, because he seemed like he was just like a dude who like cleaned out like estates or like storage units or something like that. Like he seemed like a junk kind of guy. So like I imagine he probably had more records. I kind of kick myself for not asking, but at the same time it was just kind of like a scramble because I ran out of money, had to go across the street to an ATM type deal, and it was just I just wanted it to be done with and go home and enjoy all the records I got, because I got a ton of records that day. But yeah, I'm definitely, this is probably the best find I had out of that entire lot, and yeah, I'm super thankful for it. All right, down to the last two here. One that I've been dying to get probably since I started collecting, honestly. It's just been one of those that's been on my want list forever, and you know, it's insanely popular and has a great following, and because of that it goes for a lot, which makes me not want to pay that much. But it finally came out for a price on eBay that I could be happy with. This is Funkadelic Maggot Brain. It's released in 1971, and it is their third record. It is on Westbound Records. As far as these albums go, this is a VG Plus copy with some scuffs. I imagine it looks like it was probably DJ'd at one point, and why I assume that is because of how there's a lot of scuffs and scrapes on the outer edge. I think that's like because of DJing and stuff like that. I might be wrong. I think that's why though. Yeah, the sleeve's in decent shape as well. It is taped up, like the spine or whatever, but it's not too offensive on how it's taped. So I'm not too upset about that. I mean, I knew the condition I was buying it in. I mean, I kind of expected this for sure. But yeah, just insanely good. The first time I heard Maggot Brain, like I kind of teared up. It's just that guitar solo is beautiful, man. Like Eddie Hazel, man, just amazing. But yeah, Super Stupid, Wars of Armageddon. Can you get to that? That was in a commercial recently, actually. Hit It and Quit It. Hit It and Quit is probably my favorite track on the album. Yeah, You and Your Folks, Me and My Folks. Insanely good. This is a Pittman press. But yeah. I'm super stoked to own an original of this. I had like a European reissue or whatever of it that was pretty good. I ended up selling that on eBay pretty quickly. But yeah, I'm so happy to own an original of this finally, because it's been on my want list for so long, and definitely a good one to check off the list. Okay, so now we're down to the last record. I don't know what happened. I don't know how I own this, because I don't know. I didn't think I was at that point yet in my collecting to own things like this. This is an insane find, and honestly, I haven't even really processed it completely yet, and it's been weeks. I just still can't believe it. But I'll stop with the stupid background or whatever, and I'll just show it to you. Here it is. This is McDonald and Sherby, and this is Catharsis. This is an original 1974 press on Omniscient Records. Essentially a private pressing. And this record is absolutely mind-blowing, especially considering it was just these two guys behind it all. There were some backup musicians: Sly Williams, Dan Dropkick, Monty Edwards, and Dan Olson. Yeah, this was recorded at Sound 80 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Same place and same year that Bob Dylan recorded some tracks for Blood on the Tracks, which is one of my favorite Bob Dylan records. Prince also finished his demos at the same studio for his first album a few years later. And Cat Stevens also recorded one of his albums here in 1977, which is pretty sweet. The two tracks that I would 100% clump together that you should listen to back to back is Space Beam and Swim Free. You start out with Space Beam. It literally sounds like On the Run by Pink Floyd off Dark Side of the Moon. They were definitely inspired for sure, because this came out a year after Dark Side of the Moon. But it is insanely good, especially with the transition between that one and Swim Free. It is so good. And there's a lot of good, like, just straight blues rock, hard rock type stuff that gives me like ZZ Top vibes, like Sharks Around Blood. It's got some like a ZZ Top vibe to it. And the album starts out with Adaran, which is just like a spacey, psychedelic, very melodic song, and it turns into this like super like drony guitar psych sound, which I really enjoy. And yeah, the whole album is phenomenal. I don't know how I own this, but I do. I paid not even close to how much it is going for, and it is a VG Plus copy. Like, I don't know. I'm absolutely blown away by it. Don't know why I own this. Well, I know why I owned it. Right place, right time, spent money. But yeah, this needs to be reissued properly. I'm thinking a Noble Records reissue would be very nice for this. Yeah, insanely crazy find, and I am so happy to own it now. And yeah, number one find of 2024. And I don't really think anything in 2025 is going to top this. I don't think anything's going to top this for a while. This is pretty crazy for me. So yeah, I'm extremely happy. Okay, guys. Well, that about wraps it up. Those were my finds of 2024. The year definitely started out slow. Like, I wasn't really buying anything or finding anything, really. Wasn't really looking that hard, you know. Just kind of going through a rough patch, but brought it back. Like, definitely like summer, fall territory. That was when it all came back around, and as a result, I was starting to find a ton of great records as well. So yeah, it's been a hell of a ride. 2024 turned out to be a pretty sweet year, and I'm looking forward to 2025 because I think it's going to be awesome. And as a result, I'm going to try to upload more videos as well and try to be more consistent with it. I'm probably going to eat my words because I just get busy with school and work and other personal social life things. But I do really enjoy doing this. I do enjoy showing you guys records and stuff. Y'all are amazing, and I appreciate every single one of you. But yeah, it's hard to keep a consistent schedule of uploading because of my schedule. But it's been awesome. It's been really great. And I just want to give a huge shout out to Soren Vinyl for getting me into all of this and just, you know, being my partner in crime when it comes to records, because it definitely would have not been as fun to do this without a buddy, you know. But yeah, it's been great, and hope to get another video out to you guys soon, and Happy New Year. Peace.